going on, guys? I am here in the Angeles National Forest. I'm making a push up to Mount Williamson here. It's about 8,200 feet. It's a mountain I haven't summited before, so I wanted to take the opportunity to enjoy this nice weather we're having, kind of cloudy and moody back here, and also grab a mountain that I haven't summited before, so kind of a win-win. I wanted to stop and do a review of the new Spectral Voice album, Sparagmos. Spectral Voice is a death doom band out of Denver, Colorado, sharing members with Blood Incantation, Black Curse, definitely other bands that I'm blanking on right now, but part of that, really active Denver metal scene. And now that I'm thinking about it, the people who share members, the people who are in all those projects, have been incredibly active this year because Black Curse, Spectral Voice, and Blood Incantation all released albums this year. That's crazy. I am very envious of that level of quality musical output. That's amazing. If you haven't heard the Black Curse album, I also highly recommend checking that out. I'm admittedly a little ambivalent about Blood Incantation. They are not bad. I don't dislike them, but they are not a band that does much for me. That said, I acknowledge that they're just a very, very talented band. I'm sure a lot of people really enjoy the new record. I enjoy it even. It's just not something I find myself coming back to very often. An album I do find myself coming back to very often is Spectral Voice's new album, Sparagmos. So as I said, this is a death doom project, and death doom is one of those really, really niche subgenres that's a little hard to pin down. So I credit Spectral Voice's 2017 album, Eroded Corridors of Unbeing, with bringing this subgenre back sort of to the metal public's eye. And, that album enjoyed a lot of success. People were really excited about it, and I think this follow-up album is even better. I mean, it's more refined in terms of songwriting and composition, but it's just as grotesque and murky. It's not really like they polished up the production a lot. If anything, it might be a little rougher around the edges in a good way. The guitar tone on this album is just sublime. It is perfect. It really walks that tightrope of having just enough clarity that you can hear what's going on and enjoy the musical ideas that Spectral Voice is bringing to the table here. But it also is so distorted and down-tuned that it sounds like it's about to fall apart at any second and just descend into just this amorphous, completely chromatic nonsense that the human ear can't even quite perceive. So it's just this tightrope walk that whoever produced this album really nailed masterfully. Because being a doom metal band, it is pretty down-tuned and it's very heavy. There's an emphasis on just the low-end, plodding, slow pace. And that's, I think, why death doom is so hard to pin down, because it's almost a spectrum, right? You have bands sort of like Cruciamentum comes to mind, or even like Incantation, that are on the death metal side of the spectrum, but have clear doom elements in the music. Is that death doom? I don't know. A lot of people would just call it death metal. I think Incantation really influenced the genre, but I don't know that I would consider them a death doom band. And then on the far end of the spectrum, I don't know, I'm having a tougher time. I don't listen to a lot of doom metal, frankly, so I'm having a tougher time coming up with an example of a doom metal band that has just flashes of death metal, but I'm sure they exist. But I think Spectral Voice falls in that sweet spot right in the middle, where it's just the perfect mix. It's slow and plodding and just sort of crushing, but you have the guttural vocals of death metal, and you have the faster tremolo riffs and blast beat sections that you would find on a death metal release. So it's really just the perfect blend. I mean, death doom is a genre that I've really gotten into since last year with the Order of Decay album, Mortification Rites. Just an amazing album. I mean, one of my favorite albums of the past 5-10 years. It's incredible. And I think what Spectral Voice did here is actually take, the same style of death doom and make it almost grittier and rawer. And it's so refreshing to hear. So a good example of what I'm talking about here with the sort of balancing act between death metal and doom metal is halfway into the first song, Be Cadaver. And let's just stop for a second and appreciate what a good song name Be Cadaver is. That's so sick. Halfway through, everything drops out and the guitar just plays this tremolo riff, and you're like, oh yes, they're about to come in blasting. This is about to be a fast section. And then when the drums come in, it's like this halftime thing. So it's the perfect blend of death metal and doom metal, right? But it's still catchy, it's still punchy, and then it does go into a blast beat. And I just think it's moments like that. I mean, the entire record's full of them. It's 4 songs. I think they're all over 10 minutes long. it's just moments like that punctuating the record that really, really drive home how much I like this subgenre. And this is definitely a time where if you guys have Death Doom albums that you really enjoy, that you would recommend I check out, please let me know, because I really want to explore this genre more. I know that Spectral Voice is sort of directly inspired by Disembowelment's Transcendence into the Peripheral. I think it's a clear musical lineage from that record to what Spectral Voice is doing, especially with their last two releases. But even in the demo days, you can tell that's sort of what they were going for. You know, I think another example of great Death Doom is Grave Upheaval out of Australia. That is on the raw end of things. It is almost, unlistenable isn't the right word, but if you like raw black metal, then I guess you know what you're getting into with a release like that. It is so gross and messy, and just like it's like opening a casket and just seeing a corpse that's just like melted into this putrid, rotten mush. That's what that project sounds like to me. I think Spectral Voice, it's definitely still a project that's about death, but I think it's sort of more maybe on the the philosophical side or the transcendent side of things. I mean, the lyrics are really good too. This is just an album that it's just a superlative album. I can't recommend this one enough. I think I've probably made my point here. Absolutely check it out if you haven't. I'd be surprised if you haven't. This is a pretty popular band, especially with the Blood Incantation connection. They are definitely sort of metal's darlings right now, just because they're constantly putting out good music. And I don't know if I'll do a full review of the Black Curse album, so I'll just take this opportunity to plug that one as well. That's sort of their, Black Death, war metal type project. Also just incredible. I think shares some sonic similarities with Spectral Voice, but overall it's distinct enough that I understand why it's a different project. But Spectral Voice, Sparagmos, 10 out of 10. Incredible record. Check it out. Let me know what you guys have been listening to. Definitely let me know if there are some Death Doom albums you think I should check out. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching. You know what? I checked my notes, my super organized, well-researched notes, and realized there's something I wanted to mention and forgot to. Not a huge detail, but it's something that really sets, I think, this record apart from a lot of death metal, Death Doom stuff that I've heard. Although it is something I've heard on the Order of Decay album from last year, and maybe this is a big part of why I like it so much. There is a lot of soundscapey stuff, like, horror movie, dark ambient, ritual ambient, layers of sound and just extra detail that really give these records, and Sparagmos in particular, just a really eerie vibe, like a really, really dark and contemplative, vibe that I really, really enjoy. Really makes me come back to the album more often than I probably otherwise would have, because there's a sense of, darkness and mystery that feels very genuine. There's only so much you can do with guitars, drums, and, traditional rock instrumentation, but I think the ambient genre is where things can start to get very eerie and sort of inward looking. So yeah, that's something I really appreciate about this record, that I wanted to mention in the review. Appreciate you watching. Get outside. Have a good one.